Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are busy with chapter number 11 of the Holy Quran, Surah 11, verse 69, the Prophethood alayhi salam. There came our messengers to Abraham with glad tidings. They said, Peace, salams. And he, Abraham, answered, Peace, salams, and hastened to entertain them with a roasted calf. This is one of the etiquettes and one of the great hospitality, not only of the great messengers of God such as Abraham and Ismail and Isaac and so on, but it is also part of the Arabian culture to be very hospitable people. That means if you are staying alone in the desert in your home and a wayfarer or a traveler comes on a long journey, then you know that they have come on a long journey. And first and foremost, you give them some water to drink or some milk to drink, and you say, please stay the night, and I will meanwhile get a roasted calf for you. This is like a lekker braai vlees or a barbecue. And you must remember that traditionally, you'll invite the guest to stay over at your house for 3 days and 3 nights, right? Now, you must remember it is very, very difficult to get resources in the desert. And a calf will only be used for special occasions because that's part of the wealth, and then you need that for sustenance as well. So Abraham or Ibrahim alayhi salam took his treasured calf, a precious part of his asset, but out of his love for strangers and wayfarers and to help people who are in the desert, he told his wife, let's get that roasted calf and present it to them. But then something interesting happens, and let's take the story further. But when he saw their hands went not towards the meal, he felt some mistrust of them and conceived a fear of them, because part of the rules and regulations of desert is that there's a lot of tribal warfare. People will fight over the smallest thing. And when you're traveling in the desert, there's a lot of bandits as well, in modern terms, like the highway robbers or the pirates of the Caribbean, right? But in the ocean, at least in the desert, there aren't pirates of the Caribbean. But just to give an example, that there were many highway robbermen. And now Abraham is alone with his wife, Sarah, and they are elderly couple, right? They're not young anymore. Now here, 3 young, very handsome, youthful men who have come there, they can easily overpower them. They can kill them, they can harm them, they can do whatever they want to. So when you invite a guest to say, right, come, let's sit down and eat, the food is ready, I made a lekker barbecue, the braai is now lekker, ready, it's nice, I made it specially, so now come, let's start eating. But then they don't want to eat. So now you say, hey, hang on, man, what's going on here now? So he's looking at them from the side, he's looking at each one's face, but then they put their mind, because you must remember that angels do not eat food. And that is how they explained the reason why they did not eat food. And when they explained who they were, that they are divine messengers from the Creator Supreme, and they've gone on a very important mission to punish the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And the person there, the messenger there, who is trying to tell these people to stay away from their evil ways, is the nephew of Abraham, and his name is Lut alayhi salam. Right, so let's continue. But when he saw their hands went not towards the meal, he felt some mistrust of them and conceived a fear of them. They said, fear not, we have been sent against the people of Lut. So they don't have to give any explanation, right? This is very cryptic. Meaning who? We have been sent from who? Did the king send us? No. Did the president send us? No. Was there a human rights organization that sent us? No. It is the Creator of the heavens and the earth that has sent us. God most merciful has sent us. So it is not a human being that has sent us, it is the Supreme Creator who has sent us to punish the people of Lut because of their abominations, right? And his wife, the wife of Abraham, was standing there, and she laughed. But we gave her glad tidings of Isaac, and after him of Jacob. So absolutely amazing. She's given the great news not only of a son but a grandchild. So one day they will also be grandparents. Now imagine a husband and wife in their old age. They've been yearning their whole life to have a child. And then eventually when Abraham married Hajar from Egypt, and then he had the firstborn known as Ishmael. And he settled his wife and Ishmael in Mecca at the Kaaba, and they then raised the foundations of the Kaaba in the worship of the one true God. But then there was a sense of emptiness in his life because his first wife, Sarah, does not have any children. Now, from a medical point of view, this is extremely difficult, if not impossible, right? So here, now let's look at some of the miraculous events if we're looking at pregnancy. And the Quran makes mention of several examples, and it will be opportune time now at the moment. Let's just ponder very, very briefly as to some of these amazing and miraculous events that the Quran talks about. I'm just trying to reach for my pencil here. Okay, so let's find my pencil. Okay, that's a blunt one. There's a nice sharp one. Right. So here we have, now this is also amazing. So I'm talking mainly from a medical and a scientific point of view. So here is Abraham, and when in all of this, remember we are saying peace be upon him, right? Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife. He is 100 years old, his wife is 90 years old. Now here you have the womb of a mother. Right, this is the womb. You have the fallopian tubes. You have the fallopian tubes and you have the ovary. Right. In basic terms. Right. Now, every month, one egg is released. And if there is an opportunity for a sperm, then it will cling to the wall of the uterus like a hanging leech or a hanging clot. And that will start the formation of a new human being. From the haploid stage, the diploid stage, then the zygote and the morula and so on, right? The notochord, neurochord, and all the various systems coming into place. And then this place where it's attaching, that will eventually become the placenta and the amniotic membrane around it in 3 layers of darkness. We have the layer of darkness of the amniotic sac, then we have the uterine wall, and then we have the abdominal wall. Right. Now, usually then by about the age of 40, the menstrual cycles still continue, but then because of the age of the person, there is a greater risk of mutations and abnormal children. So doctors normally suggest that if you want to start a family, please do that before the age of 40. Yes, there are some people at the age of 42, 44 and so on who do get pregnant, but your menopause will usually start between the age of 45 to 52. Menopause means that everything now is slowing down. The engine is now slowing down and the engine will stop working. That means that the ovaries will stop producing the monthly eggs. So let us be gracious. Let's say even if it's at the age of 60, even if it's the age of 55, that the ovaries are no longer producing any eggs. Finish. So a woman who is now 90 years old, it is impossible for her body to be producing eggs. There's no eggs there. Right? That's the first thing. There's no eggs. Right. The second problem is that a woman after the age of 40 or 45, firstly, it's not only the greater risk of mutation or abnormal children, but the uterine wall becomes weak. And for a 90-year-old woman to become pregnant, there's a serious risk of rupture. That entire womb can burst open and she can die from blood loss. right? So that is why nature has made it, God most merciful has made it, that only young people get pregnant, and once you reach a certain age, the door of pregnancy and childbirth are now over. Because at that age, they're supposed to be great-great-grandparents already. But now an amazing bit of news comes, that these angels are telling them two amazing pieces of news, that you guys, here's Abraham and Sarah, you're going to be gifted with a male child, and we represent a male with a square whose name is Isaac. And eventually Isaac will marry a woman, we represent a woman with a circle, and from Isaac and that woman you will get another son whose name is Jacob. And from Jacob you will have the 12 tribes, Benjamin, Yusuf, and all the various tribes, right? So an amazing bit of news is being given to Sarah and Abraham. How does this fit in medically? This is impossible. So it is an impossibility. From a medical and a scientific point of view, it is impossible for a 90-year-old woman to get pregnant. Most importantly, because her ovaries are not functioning. It is as if she has had a hysterectomy. There's no eggs there. But remember, God can do anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala simply has to give His command, which is called kun. Fayakun. It means, in English, it means be. And it is. It comes into existence. Or in Afrikaans, it is wees. And dit is. It just comes into being. Now, how many other miraculous pregnancies were there? But it's important to remember, very important, Mensa, that even though this is an impossibility, nobody worships Isaac as God or the Son of God, although it is a miraculous birth. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning it, because there was another miraculous birth also by Zechariah. Zechariah, in his old age, he was looking after Mary, and he was given the good news because he prayed to God most merciful that I want a son. I want an heir to continue my legacy of upholding the banner of truth. And God most merciful answered his prayer once again. He was very, very old. Very, very old. He said, my hair has turned white. My bones have got extreme rheumatoid arthritis. And I have become weak. And how can I have a son when I am so old? And God again says, kun fayakun, done. And another amazing miraculous birth we know is that of Mary. Now Mary, why it is absolutely amazing is because here is a female. She is young. So she's got eggs, no problem. But there is no sperm. There is no father. There is no sperm. And astaghfirullah for saying this, but please remember, some people have made the great mistake of saying that God had intimacy with Mary, or the archangel had intimacy with Mary, or somebody had intimacy with Mary, and that is how we had Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him. But as Muslims, we say no. If anybody put a sperm into Mary, then it is no longer a miracle. You agree with me? Because even in today's time, 12-year-old girls are getting pregnant. To get pregnant is easy, as long as you have a sperm. So it's very easy to get pregnant. But it is impossible to get pregnant without the sperm. You need sperm and egg. So as Muslims, we say that Mary is not only honorable, she is pious, she is an amazing woman, she is a chaste woman, she is a virgin, and her hymen is intact. It is not broken. So if in modern times, if you take Mary to the clinic or to the hospital, and you say, can you please examine her? She is pregnant, can you please examine her? And the obs and gynecologists will get a shock of their life to see that yes, she is pregnant, but her hymen is intact. Nobody had sex with her. Now, this is why this is an absolute miraculous pregnancy, because Mary has got XX chromosomes. Usually, before we come to Mary, if you have a man and a woman, you have a male and you have a female. The male chromosomes, you have 46 chromosomes, and the female has 46 chromosomes. The sex chromosomes are known as XY, and the female sex chromosomes are known as XX. And then during the sperms, half the sperms are X, half the sperms are Y, but the eggs, all the eggs are Y. So the X will combine with X, and then you'll get a daughter, and the X will combine with X, you'll get another daughter. But if the Y from the father, the sperm from the father combines with the X from the mother, you get a YX, which is a son. Or if that Y combines with that egg, once again, you get a Y and X as son. So you got a 50-50 chance of getting a boy or a girl. But the main thing to remember here is that the Y chromosome is the one that will determine whether it will be a boy or a girl. Now, in the case of Mary, there's no Y chromosome, there's only XX. And this is where the miracle occurs. How can an XX woman, only with pure XX eggs, how did she give birth to someone with a XY genetic makeup? I'm just looking for an empty page. So how Mary has only got XX. There was no sperm. Nobody had sex with her. And yet she became pregnant with Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, whose chromosome makeup is XY. And that is why Muslims say that this is a miracle without a shadow of a doubt. But that does not make Jesus God or the Son of God. Please don't make that mistake. Right. Now, is there another miracle that is greater than Jesus? Yes, there is. And the Quran mentions it. Because here we have a human being without a father. And that is Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him. But there is a human being without another human being without a father. Who is that? And without a mother. No father, no mother. Right? This is where another amazing miracle comes in. This miracle is even greater than the miracle of Jesus, because the very first human being that God created, Adam, did not have a father, did not have a mother. But this is where the thing comes clarifying it. Why do they worship Jesus as God or the Son of God? If because of the miraculous birth of him, why don't they worship Adam as God or the Son of God? Why not? Because this is a greater miracle than Jesus. And another final point before we continue, remember that every human being on the planet Earth, every human being, without a shadow of a doubt, once again from a medical point of view, male and female have got an umbilicus, right? The belly button. Everybody got a belly button because everybody has come out of the womb of a mother. Even Jesus, peace be upon him, has got a belly button because he came out of his mother. Every human being got a belly button except Adam and Eve. Adam does not have a belly button. Eve does not have a belly button because Adam and Eve did not come out of a womb. They were created. They were not born. Very important as a belief answer. Right, let's continue. And his wife there was standing. And his wife was standing there, and she laughed. But we gave her glad tidings of Isaac, and after him of Jacob. She said, Alas for me! Shall I bear a child, seeing I am an old woman, and my husband here is an old man? That would indeed be a wonderful thing. They said, do you wonder at Allah's decree? The grace of Allah and His blessings on you, O you people of the house, for He is indeed worthy of all praise, full of all glory. When fear had passed from the mind of Abraham, and the glad tidings had reached him, he began to plead with us for Lot's people. For Abraham was without doubt forbearing of faults, compassionate, and given to look to Allah. O Abraham, seek not this. The decree of your Lord has gone forth. The punishment is already there, right? Once the decree is made, those arrows are already going. So the decree of your Lord has gone forth. For them, there comes a penalty that cannot be turned back. Join me in the next episode as we continue with chapter number 11. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.